looks like we've got some people. All of a sudden, everybody's coming. I love that. Okay, so we've got definitely the people that I knew were coming are here, and I'm sure there's more people that are going to join, but I feel like I can begin. So thank you, thank you, thank you for coming to Release Fear to Market and Sell Your Services. I am Jenn T. Peterson, and I'm so excited that you all are here. And if you are catching the replay, great, you're going to love this. And I am going to go back and forth between sharing my slides and videos and maybe not sharing my slides and videos. So just bear with me. We are in what's called Mercury in retrograde. And we are also in the Lionsgate portal, 8-8 Lionsgate. So it's kind of an interesting thing, right? Like, which one are we going to buy into? The one that creates all the beautiful things, the 8-8 Lionsgate of manifestation, or are we going to think everything is not working out for us because it's Mercury in retrograde? Well, I decided to go with the 8-8 Lionsgate and run a digital training during Mercury in retrograde because I don't buy into that. I actually think there's a really way better way to think about Mercury in retrograde, and that it is a beautiful time to rest, to reflect, and to really just learn from anything that you want to reflect on, as opposed to what a lot of people say is that, oh, I'm not going to do anything digitally because it just will not work out for me. And I promise that all is well. We can make anything work out for us. So, with that said, I'm going to just begin to just really help you understand what to expect today. So, I'm going to take you through 4 things that you do that get in your way, kind of like believing in and buying into Mercury with retrograde. And I'm going to tell you the 4-step process that we use to release your fear to market and sell your services. But I promise you can use these 4 steps on any fear that is false fear. The true fear, we don't mess with that. That saves our lives. We're good with that. But it's the false fear that we really want to release. And I'm going to tell you why these 4 steps are so important, and also why your mind is going to stop you from marketing and selling your services, even when I teach you this. So the most important thing that you get out of this training is going to be the awareness that you actually can release your fear, and you can talk to your mind and get it on your side. And I'm also going to go through, so if you have a journal that you have with you, we're going to go through 4 questions throughout the training to ask yourself about marketing and selling your services. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you a way that you can work with me. And you can also have a chance to work with my mentor, Natalia, who's also on this training. So we'll talk to you about that later. I totally believe in consent to sell. And so just as you all, if you have any fear around selling or you feel like it's icky, you definitely want to stay for this part, because I will teach you how to sell with consent. And the very first step is what I just said. And that is that I tell you in the beginning of this free training that I'm going to tell you how to work with me. And you have every right to stay for that if you really love that idea. And you also have every right to not stay for that. You can take all the free stuff and you can leave. It's your right. And I will not take offense to any of that. That is the first step to getting consent when you are selling your own services. And so what are you going to save? Well, tons of suffering on trying to figure out if there is a right way to market and sell your services. And you will save regret on not really putting yourself out there fully to connect with your potential clients. And you're also going to save energy that you can convert into fuel to achieve your business goals. Because that's what happens when we release our fear and release our karma. And so why do I think I am the right teacher for you? It's because I help my clients get clear, increase confidence, and release their fears and their karma around marketing and money. And I have 30 years experience around marketing expertise. I've won 3 of the highest awards for effectiveness in marketing. And I've also spent 10 years really coaching and healing and having people who have come to me around this area of releasing fear around specifically marketing, because they know that I don't really experience too much of that anymore. I do tend to get there. I feel a little fear, and then I release it immediately and I get awareness around it immediately. And I also get support around it immediately. So even yesterday, I was feeling a little like, maybe giving myself a week to do something that I wanted to achieve. Maybe that was too short of a time. So I reached out to Natalia. I was like, hey, I feel a little like something's going on here. That's something to notice, is that we are not here on this earth to do everything on our own. We are here to take support where it's given to us, receive support where it's given to us. And if you are a service-based professional, you're also here to serve other people, to let your services be available to them, show them, stop hiding from whatever this false fear is that you're experiencing, and allow yourself to be seen. And I promise you, by the end of this training, you will see how easy it is. And so the other thing that I will say is that I've released my own fears around marketing and selling in general, where I used to be the one hiding. So I'm not saying these things like, oh, it's never been me. I definitely, and you'll see throughout this training, that I have experienced these things myself. And they're totally natural and normal that it happens, but it can be easily released. So you are in the right training if you hate marketing, and you just feel like it's icky and you don't want to experience this, but you know it's one of the ways that you can really get your beautiful work into the world. You're in the right training if you hate making mistakes, if you have any resistance to trying new things, or believing that there's a right way to market your services. I can definitely put the kibosh on that one, because I've seen some pretty awesome ways that people market that traditional marketers would never say is marketing. If you believe that the perfectly polished, professionally designed, and meticulously rehearsed videos on social media have you pressing that delete button on every recording you make, then you are definitely in the right place here, because that is not what we do. And I'm more of a believer in the messy marketing than I am in that perfectly, polished thing, because nobody really believes that anyway. And then if you feel like you need to take 3 days off to recover from that vulnerability hangover that you feel when you put yourself out there. So that is going to go away after today. And so if you feel confused about your marketing strategies and tactics, I know on my last training, somebody didn't even know what a strategy or a tactic was for marketing, and that's totally okay. We're going to teach you what that is. If you need it, just let me know and I will tell you. If you are confused about that, if you're confused about how to market and sell and promote yourself, then that's definitely a sign of fear. And if you are great at what you do, you're really amazing at your craft, but you're afraid that you're not a good enough marketer, then we're definitely going to solve that today. And if you doubt yourself and what to say to potential clients in your marketing, or if you feel burned out, drained, overwhelmed, that type of a thing, when you go to market and sell your services, we will have a solve for that as well. And so if you want to feel more calm and grounded when you're marketing and selling, if you want to have more confidence and a strong self-image that really is reflected in your personal brand, or if you want to trust yourself to just show up consistently in your business and marketing and having fun doing it, and if you just want to achieve your business goals, this is really going to help you. And so if this is you, if you're wondering if you should be like tweeting, snapping, dancing to promote your services, if you've ever seen those things, I promise you don't have to do that. I don't do that. If you feel like you're constantly comparing yourself to other people in your field, other people that maybe have more experience than you do, then you definitely are going to want to stay for this training. And then, oh, you know what? I don't know if we were recording when I said, I actually have my mentor here with me. So I promise you, there's no comparison between anything. Everybody has their own gifts, their own strengths, no matter how long they've been doing this. So I just wanted to promise you, imposter syndrome is literally an illusion. And if you keep telling yourself that it is not working when you make a post and it doesn't go viral, and I'll even tell you why going viral isn't the best thing for you, for your business. And so the other thing is if you're allowing yourself to think that perfect marketing is like taking up more space in your brain than actually serving your potential clients. If that's what's going on, you just might be missing one of the steps that I'm going to take you through today. So before I take you through those steps, though, I want you to know that you are experiencing fear of marketing and selling when these things are happening. First is you're shifting your marketing and strategies and tactics all around for no clear business reason. So, and what I mean by strategies and tactics is like a strategy is I'm going to go on social media and I'm going to tell people that are either in my social network or I'm going to grow my social network and I'm going to tell them there that that's the work that I'm doing. That's a strategy. But a tactic would be like, I'm going to do a reel, which is a video on Instagram or on Facebook, or I'm going to do a post that is, long form with a photo or short form of the photo or a color backdrop. You've seen those on Facebook. Those are the tactics that you use on a social media platform. So that's what I mean if I'm saying strategies or tactics. And I use an analogy that's terrible, but it's the only thing I can think of that my marketing mentor from, in my corporate days used this analogy, and it like made so much sense to me. It's when you think about a war, if the objective is to take the island, right? That's the strategy would be to surround the island, right? And then the tactic would be, I'm going to surround the island with those ships and throw torpedoes or whatever, shoot torpedoes over at the island to take it. So that's kind of the analogy of how to think about a strategy and a tactic. And we need all of those things in our business. Definitely not the torpedoes, though. You can leave those be. And so when we think about this, when we're just shifting things around for no clear business reason, I know that's fear because we do this to try to avoid feeling the fear of failure or sometimes even the fear of success. The strategy takes a lot of time to prepare. It's well planned, methodical, and it's based in research on where your particular people are spending their time. So you don't want to be shifting things around once you really have locked in who you're trying to reach and how you're going to reach them. When you shift the tactics around, it actually takes time away from you actually marketing your services to clients and serving your existing clients, because you don't want to spend all your time in the background of your business. You want to be inside serving your clients. And it also doesn't give you enough time to gain momentum or work with the algorithm and for you to really get comfortable with what you are doing. So this happened for me. Like when I decide I'm going to do a strategy or a tactic, I actually will commit to at least a minimum of 6 months of the tactic. And it takes patience. And I learned this, and I really want to impress it upon you, is that unlimited patience brings about immediate results. So if we go in with this, like, it's got to work right now, you'll start to do this behavior of shifting things around, and then it doesn't have time to work. But when you go in with, I am committed to doing this, and you take the time to learn the thing that you're going to do, that's when it gives it an opportunity to work. And also it gives you an opportunity to evaluate what's working, what's not working, and what can I do differently, instead of like every week wondering why this post didn't work and then, shifting your tactic. I consider shifting tactics like the tail wagging the dog. And so the next thing that feels like it might be fear is when you're using other people's success in your industry against yourself. So when you're looking at their marketing and you're comparing it to your marketing, that is definitely not going to work. It's going to be putting you into fear. It puts you into what's called comparison mind, where you're comparing yourself to someone else, which can trigger imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome, if you haven't heard of that term, it's when you feel like a fraud. You feel like, oh my gosh, who in the world would hire me to do this work? So I could say that I clear karma for part of my work, and Natalia clears karma for part of her work. And I don't compare myself to her. She has her zone of genius. I have mine. And it's beautiful and it works really lovely together. So there's room for everyone. And even if we cleared the exact same thing, like if I decided I was going to do the thing that she does, I'd still do it differently. I'd still do it in my own way. So there's room for everyone. And we have like, I don't know how many, are we at 8 billion people on the planet right now or something amazing like that? How many people do you think you need to have a successful business? You don't need 8 billion of them. And she can have the ones that are aligned for her, and I can have the ones that are aligned for me. And sometimes we can work with the same people and still everyone wins. It's amazing. And you win too. So I want you to be thinking like that when you're thinking about people in your industry, because I will invite you to watch what other people are doing, but not from a comparison perspective, from an inspiration perspective. That will fuel you into so much fun in how you can market and sell your services. So the other thing when you are using somebody else's success against you is that it will cause confusion in your own marketing strategy. You'll think, oh my goodness, I should be doing what they're doing. And I promise you, you probably shouldn't be doing what they're doing. And I'm not really into shoulds or shouldn'ts, but I want to explain what I mean by this. I mean that you have your own aligned marketing plan that is beautiful for you. And I have my own marketing plan that is beautiful for me. I call it an aligned marketing plan. And, Jenn has her aligned marketing plan that works for her. Natalie's going to have hers. Everybody's is not going to be the same. I don't believe in cutter strategies. And the reason is because sometimes people are offering different kinds of services. Sometimes people are offering products. Sometimes somebody's inclination is to like, I love public speaking, for example. Not me, but someone could love public speaking, and getting out in front of people in big groups of audiences could be exactly their aligned marketing plan. But it might not be mine. I might like really intimate groups, right? I might like really intimate containers, and that might be my aligned marketing strategy. So always know that when you're looking at someone else and you're like, they're successful, I should be doing that. For example, a complicated funnel with an upsell and a downsell and all the things may not be right for your stage of business. So you have to really assess, where am I at in my business? Am I just getting my very first clients? Or am I at, 7 figures and I want to grow? Or am I somewhere in the middle of that? Have I not hit 6 figures yet? And I need a different strategy. So you have to really look at where you are in your business and then match the strategy to that, and what is your natural inclination of things that you enjoy. I've had people come and say, I want to be on Instagram because I just like think that's, where I want to be. But they actually hated Instagram, and the horses showed me that they hated Instagram. And so you've either got to really do some work to love Instagram. Hey, Ursina, I just saw you pop in. Either you have to really do some work to like wrap your mind around it and start to love it, or you can just go find the thing that actually would light you up. And so that's why I love to not compare myself to other people, not mimic their strategies. I just think it's really important. And so the other thing that happens when you are using somebody else's success against yourself is that you lose productivity, you lose consistency in your own marketing, and you no longer are paying attention to your own business goals. You're paying attention to theirs, and you're taking your attention off of your own business. And why that happens is because we are afraid of rejection. So we think, well, everybody approves of this person because they're successful. And so I better do what they're doing so I don't get rejected. That's kind of what's going on in the subconscious mind that I notice with the clients that I work with. And so the next thing that why fear might be seeping in is if you try to push yourself through and put pressure on yourself to do your marketing. So I'm a big believer in not pressuring yourself. The best thing that you can do is to have more fun and take the pressure off of yourself. Because when you put pressure on your marketing, it gets you like into this like sticky, stuck energy, and it doesn't really create flow. And when you try to push through the marketing, it doesn't come from service. Marketing to me is love. Marketing is service. And your potential clients can feel that in your words. So if you're like, I've got to make this post, and you start typing your post, or, even if you're using ChatGPT to create your post, if you're doing it with like a sense of energetic pressure, then you're not necessarily going to get the same result that you want, because everything is energy. Even if it's the AI that's creating the thing for you, you want to make sure that you're feeling really good when you're doing your part of that, because you are putting in the prompts, you're going into the platform, you're making the post, you're taking the photo, or whatever it is that's going on. That all has your energy attached to it. And so self-pressure makes you feel overwhelmed, and it does not create the result that you want. And this is just what I notice when people shift this particular piece of fear. It's beautiful what the result is. And so consistently feeling overwhelmed causes you to burn out quickly, and it's not sustainable. And so your subconscious mind is kind of anticipating that you're going to burn out, and that it can self-sabotage you. And this is actually what's known as the fear of success. It's like that sneaky one. We think, oh, of course I don't have the fear of success. I want success. But then I keep my visibility down because I'm afraid if I have too many people, I won't be able to handle it. That's one that I've experienced. And what's so fun is that Natalia's helped me clear that. And now I'm, moving into group, because my privates have sold so much that I'm having this wonderful opportunity to serve more people, because I've lifted my own visibility. And so the next thing that can be sneaky with fear is that if you believe that the number of followers you have determines your success. So everybody can go onto their social media and check their number of followers, and any client can come and check your number of followers. But I promise you that is not what you should be tracking when you're thinking about your metrics. You can track the number of followers, and this is going to lead to a thought error. It's going to lead to this thinking of like, I need a large following to be successful. This actually comes from the fear of being seen. You may think that it isn't worth marketing to a small audience. You might be like, oh, it's just my friends and family and they don't want my services. But that's actually the fear of being seen, keeping your audience small, right? So the less you post, the less people are going to find your work, the less your audience will grow. And so it's a little sneaky thing that happens. And it's like kind of doing it on purpose, because it wants, your brain wants to keep you safe. It doesn't want change. It just wants everything to be like, please, back when our brains were evolving, we were still living in caves and we needed to stay in the cave to be safe. So that's kind of why this happens. Our fear comes from the oldest part of our brain. And so and the other thing, just to really hone this in, is when you think that you need something, the energy gets really sticky, right? If I need this to get this, then it's probably not going to work, because when you think about the language of need, it can be a fear-based thing that you're saying, right? Feeling like maybe a little victimized by the algorithm or the social media platform can sometimes happen. I only know that because I've experienced it, and I have learned to think about it very differently. And the other thing to notice is that if you're thinking about followers, right, the word followers, you're actually not thinking about the real live human being that is behind the account, behind the following, and that needs your help right now. You're just thinking about a number that you want to grow. And this tends to slip you out of being into service mindset. And while, you're creating your marketing, you really want to be in service mindset. And it's not clean energy to market from. So I highly recommend thinking differently about your social media if that's the aligned marketing platform that you choose. So now I'm going to take you through the 4-step process that does work, and what will keep you out of fear and in more, I would say, a love-based thinking around your marketing. And so the first step is finding the truth. So I've been coaching and healing women entrepreneurs for 10 years and I've helped hundreds of clients. So I know that when I've helped them go from fear to love in their marketing, the only thing that I know for sure that was blocking them was some form of fear. And it can be the fear of success, failure, rejection, and the fear of being seen. Those are the main ones that I see. But I can tell you that from my own personal experience, the number one fear that stopped me personally was the fear of being seen. And so I think this is a good opportunity for me to show you. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what my website looked like when I first started. And then beautiful. So this is kind of like what my website looked like when I first started my business, and I was terrified to be seen. I had this subconscious thing. So I think I mentioned I was in marketing for a really long time. I know it works. And yet I could not bring myself to put my own face on my own or my own name on my business. And I didn't know why. I couldn't explain it to you. I could just tell you it was not happening. And I would put these pretty pictures of, I would even put my own baby, my child, on the screen and happily show pictures of her. But I remember having two horses and a child, because when I started my business, I was coaching anxious moms. That was my, to help them release their anxiety, because that's one of my things that I've done in my life, is that I know how to manage and release anxiety. And I didn't want people to suffer. So I was like, okay. But instead of talking about my own experience, I would just pop pictures of my baby or beautiful flowers or the herd of horses, before I was even working with horses, by the way. So that is not necessarily the easiest way to create trust and safety to buy. And that one fear of being seen caused me to have these 5 fear-based behaviors that stopped me from marketing my own services. And, many of these we talked about, the comparing myself to the other coaches, like, well, why would anybody hire me if they have these amazing other people to hire? Or, they know how to do something, they've figured something out, and I haven't figured this out yet, right? Which was literally keeping my attention on my problems, which, if you're a coach or a healer, just maybe you're not applying it to marketing, but this is what I realized. Feeling like a fraud, that like, oh my gosh, I remember my first experience working with horses, like, and people, I was like, how in the world? Like, I'm not a life horse person, and I'm over here, who's going to come to me? And what was so fun is some of my first clients were horse experts, and that was amazing because they could help me. I didn't have to worry about keeping them safe. They knew how to do it. So they were the best people to be my first clients. But if I had put my comparison mind, I'd be like, oh, what could I ever teach them? And it turned out my way of working with horses is so different than someone who's grown up with horses and knows how to ride, and they dominate the horse. And that's not what I do. I actually create a beautiful synchronicity, I don't even know, yin yang, infinity loop, whatever you want to call it, communication and relationship with the horse that greatly benefited these women. And it took them from, like, I remember I had this woman, she was a hunter jumper, professional rider, and she was getting like 5th or 6th. So she was pretty good, but she just couldn't win. And when I helped her with her relationship with her horse, and she started to do what I was doing and relate to the horse the way I related to the horse, they started winning the blue ribbons. And every time she would win number 1. So that's like the beauty of, being able to rethink how you can help someone, right? Like, I would have never thought in a million years that that's going to be, a result. And I could have totally taken my business in that way, but it really wasn't, that was a line for me. And so the other thing that was happening is, from this fear of being seen, was I would avoid marketing altogether. I'd be like, oh, I'm going to do some laundry. I'm going to take care of my 4 kids. I'm going to do all of these things that have nothing to do with marketing. And I would pretend in my brain that I was doing work, or I would like work on a website, something like that. That felt really safe to like do the behind the scenes work, because then I wasn't actually putting my face up into the world, because I didn't ever want to press publish on my website. I just wanted to keep working on it and perfecting it and looking at all the things. And so that's the last, is waiting for the marketing to be perfect. Well, I don't have the perfect language. I'm going to have to do all these other things to get the perfect language, right? All of that is contributing to procrastinating my marketing. And so when I think about finding the truth, I want you to really question any story that you have in your head that's telling you that you can't market, or that it's not working, or any of those things, because I want you to start looking for the facts, right? When you can separate out what's the fact that's going on versus story you're telling yourself. And I actually was just coaching someone today on this concept, because sometimes we think that something is like totally fact, I can prove it in a court of law, that this isn't working, right? And really, it's the thing, it's like the blind spot, it's the thing that's stopping you. And, I think one of her thoughts was like, I have done all the things. And I was like, that's exactly the thought that's stopping you from marketing, is you're thinking you've done all the things. And it seems like, well, of course, I can give you all the evidence, right? So be onto your brain, be onto yourself of how fear is really affecting you. And so consistent marketing strategies that are tracked and all of that are going to create results, right? So if you can separate those facts from the story, you can follow the numbers, and the numbers will tell you the truth. And so I like to track real data points rather than the vanity metric. So the vanity metric is like how many followers I have. But actually, the metric I track is how many people did I actually speak to. That number will tell me if how many people have I served. Like I will do different things to sort of get my work out into the world. So how many people come to this training? This is me serving you, helping you, right? That that is a real data point. I think my last workshop, I served 24 people in the workshop that I did called The 5 Shifts to Love Your Marketing. And from that, I created a result. So that's what I want to look at. That's not a vanity matrix. The vanity matrix is like, I've got, I don't even know how many followers I have at this point, but maybe 950 or something like that. 950 real live humans that potentially want to work with me. But have I spoken to the 950 people? That would be the thing that I track, not, the number of people that have clicked the follow button because they love the horses. And so when you allow yourself to make mistakes and then mine for the gold in that lesson. So if you go, and I find that marketing is all about experimentation and like seeing what works, what doesn't work, and what you can do differently. When you are doing that and you see a result. So for example, I paid like, I don't know, $50,000 to be in this high level mastermind to work with this, coach that was, all the things. And so I sat in that mastermind, and I remember her telling me to stop doing free trainings. And I was like, okay, I can listen to her. She can tell me whatever she wants, but she doesn't see the back end of my business. She only can tell me what she thinks. And it was so interesting because if I had taken that advice and stopped the free trainings, you all wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be learning this stuff. I definitely would have served way less. I've served hundreds and hundreds of people on these trainings over the, since the time I had that experience with her. And so, she only has like this percentage of a view of my business. So I was like, okay, I can listen to her, or I can actually go look at the facts of how many people I've served on the trainings, how many people hired me from those trainings, which trainings were the trainings that people attended and wanted and were interested in, which trainings did people, was a little meh and they didn't want to come for, what had the best title. Like there's so many things that you can tweak inside your marketing and track it. But at the end of the day, I'm the CEO of my business. You're the CEO of your business. You get to decide what you want to do. And so when you do these evaluations, if I hadn't done those evaluations to know the numbers of people who came, people who hired me from that training, I would have been like, okay, I'm going to do what you said. I'll just stop doing the free trainings, right? And I'll figure something else out. And that's not what I did. I made sure that these things. So if you have a phone, you want to take a photograph of this so that you're doing these things in your business as well. So I always want to make sure that people are making decisions based on facts, not the story that they're telling themselves. And if you're telling yourself a terrible story about marketing, let's reshape that as well. Sorry, let's see how I do this. Okay. And so here's just an example of a client that worked with me that found the truth. So this is Lisa Pack. She is the owner of Hummingbird Healing Center in Westport, Connecticut. And she came to me, she worked with me in person with the horses. And she said, working with Jenn and the remarkable horses at Rising Star Horse Rescue was truly transformative experience. The immediacy of the biofeedback, which is the body language of the horses, was amazing. And when I was in alignment with my truth and expressing it authentically, the horses let me know. And when I was out of alignment, they let me know that too. And so this is the beauty of being able to work with these horses. And you can do this. What I've noticed is that I've been, for a couple of years now, I've been doing this work virtually with people. And it doesn't really matter whether you're standing in front of a horse in person or you're on a Zoom with horses. They can sense the energy because there is no separation between, we're all connected. And so I believe the next slide is a video that you're not going to be able to hear because I just don't know how to make it work where you all can hear it. but I'll narrate it for you. But what I want you to do is just watch the body language that's going on when the horse is connecting to, I believe, my truth, if I'm remembering which one this is. Yes. Okay. Okay. So what was going on in that particular thing is that I was trying to create my very first or my second group coaching program, and I was afraid no one would show up. Like I was, and actually that's not true. I was afraid I wouldn't show up. I was afraid I would make a commitment, I would create a program, and then I would get busy with my children, because this was years ago, when my daughter was younger and I had three other children that I was raising. And I thought, how in the world am I going to be there for my clients when I've got this big family that I need to take care of? And my daughter, had special needs and there was a lot going on and I was nervous. And so what happened was, when I admitted the truth, that was congruence. The horse came right up to me and gave me the body language that I was telling the truth. It wasn't something that, like, I was literally believing this thing that I couldn't show up for my clients. And then as soon as my coach, who was coaching me at that time, got me to understand that that's really wasn't, it wasn't something I needed to buy into. And, I was like, oh, it's interesting. And then I started to say how I worry about, what if I don't show up? And immediately the horse started to like show me that that wasn't the truth. I was going to be able to show up. It's not the truth of who I am. I'm a person who shows up when it's, when it matters. And so this is one of the questions I want you to journal, is what is the story that you're telling yourself about your marketing your services? You just want to take a minute, and you can just do this as a stream of consciousness just to get awareness around what's happening for you. You could just write a couple sentences. It doesn't need to be a novel. And if you want, you can share it in the chat. Ursina, that's awesome. Ursina wrote, I probably wouldn't have signed up for your group coaching program if it weren't for your free training last week. For one, I wouldn't have even known about it, but also the free training gave me so much value that I knew I wanted more. Thank you. If I succeed, then I'll have to deliver and be overwhelmed. Oh yeah, that's definitely a thought that we can clear. And this is fun. I lost where is my, okay, I'm going to stop reading the chat because I don't know what happened to my, 1 second. Oh, here it is. Okay, there we go. Okay. So find the truth about the story you're telling yourself, and then you can choose to think differently about that story. So number 2, the step that comes second, or you could do these in any order. It doesn't really need to be linear, is to think differently. So your thoughts that are going to stop you from consistently marketing are, I know the right way. If you can't do it perfectly, or if I can't do it perfectly, I don't do it at all. I need to be more organized so I get things done, or I hate mistakes. Like those things are definitely not going to get you in front of your ideal clients. And so I'll call that an unmanaged mindset, when we are just kind of letting the mind and the fear run the show. When you have an unmanaged mindset around marketing, you can let your thoughts sabotage your marketing. And we slip into what I would call martyr mindset. When you think that things happen to me, like the algorithm, Mercury in retrograde, all these things, right? And so I'm going to show you another quick video on what it looks like with a horse when you're in the energy of martyr, because that's what was happening in this particular, if I remember the right video. It's me I'm trying to force an outcome with a horse, which, by the way, highly don't recommend it. It doesn't work. They don't love that energy at all. They don't love the pressure, and they definitely don't like it when we're trying to, we're not in a very congruent energy. We're just trying to force something. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get the horse to perform an action. I wanted him to move. And he's like, I don't think so. So I'm like trying to get some energy around his butt, and that's not working. I'm like trying to dance, trying to get some energy, and he's like not having it. And the reason he's not having it is because all the thoughts I had that were unmanaged about being able to get him to move. I am being watched by my colleagues. This was when I was training to be an Equus coach, and I was getting coached by my own coach on how to move this horse. And it wasn't going well. As you could see, he wasn't moving. He's like, no, thank you. I don't like that energy. Now imagine the horse is the client, and I'm pushing my messages. I am like, forcing them to, I don't know if you've ever had that experience on a sales conversation with someone who's like trying to pressure you to buy something. That stuff does not work. Just as much as that horse isn't going to budge, you're not going to budge either, because it doesn't feel safe when someone's inside intention does not match what their words are or what their expression is. And so that's why I believe in a well-managed mindset, because that actually creates less fear and more consistency. And so you can really think differently about your marketing by thinking thoughts like mistakes are gold, because we always learn something from them. I am organized. If you tell yourself that you're organized, chances are your behaviors are going to be organized. All ways can work. If I start thinking that my marketing isn't working, it will not work, because the actions I take will not be the same as if I believe that the marketing is working. I promise. It's like such a game changer when you believe that whatever decision you made is the right decision. And so the other thing is, when I think that perfect is the enemy of done, when I think things have to be perfect, nothing works. I actually had an idea 4 years ago to create a podcast, and Jenn, who I think is still on this call, can recall that I was creating a podcast. But I kept wanting it to be perfect, the perfect name, the perfect music, everything. And then I decided to kind of put a pin in it, and I put it into the back burner, which I, would call it the letting it simmer, the idea. And then I finally am launching it now, right? But I'm not doing it perfectly, because I realized that it kind of got put to the side, because I was doing this thing where I thought it needed to be perfect to be there, because it's like a different level of visibility. So I focused on podcast guesting instead of actually putting my point of view out into the world, which, obviously is another level of marketing that I wanted to do, but my brain would not allow me to do it. And so now I got onto myself that this is something that I really want to put out into the world. And now I have 4 episodes recorded. I have the intro, the outro, the music is selected, the name is amazing. Like, all the things that I wanted to do have come into alignment because I let go of that fear. So yes, this is what I help people with. It doesn't mean I don't experience it myself. Like, this is a natural human thing that happens, and having support built into my life helps me uncover these things. And so when I think about marketing serves my potential clients, this is a beautiful thing for anyone to think, not just me because I teach marketing and am, considered an authority in this area. It's also because even if when I'm doing my life coaching, the marketing that I'm doing for that serves my clients, because if they don't know, like Ursina was saying, they don't know that I can help them with something, then they don't get the help. And so I've helped many people with this particular one, but this is an example of my client, Christy, and this is Rolo, who now works with us in the spirit realm. So that is, he has passed away, but he was an amazing master teacher that I loved working with. And now we work with him in spirit. And so Christy says, I was feeling despair, and Jenn helped me remember who I was and refocus, allowing me to get crystal clear. She makes you think about things from many different angles and perspectives. She helps you see the roadblocks that you are setting up for yourself, all while supporting you along the entire way. In the end, I got everything I wanted and more. And now I love working the work that I'm doing, and the goodness keeps on coming. And this is in the wrong spot, but this is my client, Valerie. And we're going to talk about leading with your heart. And that is, she says, Jenn held space in such a loving and compassionate way. It allowed me to open up and realize things that I didn't even know I was holding down at times. When I felt fear about doing something, I was moved that this animal who could read my spirit and give me messages, and Jenn clearly was able to read the animal, like the fact that, is this me hiding myself? Yeah, it actually, right on, actually. I was honest and saw new aspects of myself that I didn't see before, both fantastic and where I sabotage myself. I'm constantly learning, evolving, developing, and to find this vehicle is a gift. Jenn is a masterful practitioner, and I'm so grateful. I highly recommend it. I can't tell you how much my heart has moved from this experience, as well as my body. And that is my client, Valerie Lynch. And so the next thing I want you to be journaling is when you're using other people's success in your industry's marketing as inspiration and proof of concept. So where can you find inspiration? And how could you really think differently about marketing your services? So are there thoughts that you want to move forward and use them for you instead of using it against you? And we're going to go in this training until 11:30, just which is Eastern Daylight Time. I don't know what time zone you're all in. And when you think differently, you can lead with your heart. And so this is the lead with your heart, is the third step. And so I want you to really think about marketing from heart. Marketing is what I would call loving on your potential clients. Love can be given freely and unconditionally and received in the same way. And when you give without expectation, you focus like on the energy of love and service, and you view marketing as an act of self-love, especially when you have a personal brand. You post with purpose consistently, and you end up writing and recording love notes to your potential clients. That's kind of how I like to see, I always say my emails are love notes, and my videos are just little love messages. Some people like to record voice notes. I just started doing that recently as a new way of sharing my work. And at first I was like, ooh, it feels a little uncomfortable to do a voice note because I don't really love receiving them. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it and see what happens. And think about like, well, what am I telling myself about why I don't love receiving the voice note? And it's just because sometimes I don't have time to listen to the voice note until I'm home from a day of work at the farm. So, my daughter's here. I don't want her to hear it. Or if I'm giving a voice note, maybe my dogs are barking or something like that. So, I don't think anybody would mind the neighing though of the horses in the background if I'm giving them a voice note. But I realized that the people that were receiving, I rethought about how I was going to think about the voice note. And I thought, oh, you know what? It's just the same thing. It's just like sending them an email. It's just a love note, a little love message. And when I did that, it was so profound. The things I was receiving back from that person directly, but also from the universe. Like people were like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for thinking about me. Oh, I know someone who could use this. Or, oh, you know, one of the things that happened is I sent my first voice notes, and then the first client that came in for my group coaching program came in not having any, it wasn't like I was doing something directly with that person, but it was like really beautiful just to realize that I don't have to, like, marketing is not transactional. It's just literally giving and receiving love. And so just a little horse wisdom about the heart and horses. One of the beautiful things about working with these horses is that they have coherent heart rhythms, which means that their hearts are about 5 to 10 times the size of a human's heart. And they direct all of the heart rhythms of the humans and the other beings around them. And it really, they process fear really efficiently. Like they don't think, or they don't spend a lot of time comparing themselves to the other horses in the room, in the paddock. They don't have any, they don't even have the capacity to like have that kind of thought. So that something happens in the present moment that causes them to experience true fear. So they go ahead and respond in a fight, flight. Well, they actually do flight, then freeze, then fight is usually the order that the horse will go in. And, or sorry, did I say that right? Flight, then freeze, then fight. Those are the three ways that they do it. And so as soon as it's back to safety, they're like, okay, let's go eat. Let's graze, let's lay down. They like feel safe. They don't need to do anything to really switch that their nervous system back to rest and relaxation. And so it's really amazing to be around that, because that energy is coming off of their bodies and going on to yours. And it doesn't matter whether you're in person or virtual, it's the same. So we feel calmer when we're around them, because all of the beings are being led by their heart, which is completely beautiful, as that wonderful electromagnetic field. And so why is it important to market your services? If you think about this question, and I would encourage you to even contemplate this after this session, because it's a really deep one. And sometimes just asking yourself like the first layer of why doesn't really get you to the truth. It kind of is like just the first layer. If you go really deep into this why and keep asking yourself the question, you will actually get to a point where you feel so compelled that you will just want to market your services, and you won't feel the fear, right? Because there's the way your brain works is there's the part of the brain that has fear, and then there's the part of the brain that has love, and you can't be in both of those parts of the brain at the same time. So I feel like this question really gets you into that place of love for the work that you're doing, love for your clients that you're going to serve, love for whatever the system or the craft or the body of work that you're creating, or the one that maybe you were trained on. So there's some of these things that we're doing. For me personally, I'm using ancient practices with people and have been handed down person to person, shaman to shaman, whatever. And the karma clearing process that I use, it was delivered to me with love. So I've got to, in my mind, it's my responsibility to bring that work into the world. And why is that important? Well, it's important because people don't really need to be experiencing all this fear. They can actually feel love. And, most of the people that have worked with me and have experienced it will experience the shift really quickly. So why would I ever not market my services? Like, it's my responsibility. And so when you lead with your heart, you can create trust. And this is just a sample of beautiful horses that are laying down. The horses are flight animals. They don't lay down in your presence unless they feel very safe with you. And that's where we leads to the step 4, which is creating trust. So I could probably do a whole training just on trust, but I'm going to just do it as succinctly as I can. But when you think about trust, your brain will know when you are talking about a made up avatar or a persona. A lot of marketing gurus will tell you to have an ideal client avatar. And your brain just knows the difference between when you're talking about a made up avatar and when you're actually thinking about a real live human being that you can serve. So we actually create trust with humans. We do not create trust with personas. We don't create trust with avatars. And that's one of the biggest problems I feel like the way marketing is taught is that we're taught to, by people who sometimes don't have any experience, they just have their, things that they were taught. So you're being taught by someone who was taught by someone. And worked with, I've sold literally billions of dollars of products to millions of people. And what I know for sure is that we always, whenever we did our marketing, we talked to like maybe 10 human beings to sell a million products. And we always looked at like, what were the problems that they were having? How is our product solving that problem? And what were the results they were getting when someone used the product? And what was the process that they had to sort of go in and, the product? Like, did they have to, if it was like, I don't even know what example I could give you. If it was IKEA, for example, the process is you have to take it out of the box, you have to assemble it. Well, sometimes that was a problem for people. So we would come up with another way of solving that problem if that was a barrier to purchase. And then we would sell the service. So we would bring in these people who were assemblers. And then you could still buy an IKEA product and pay a little bit of extra money to get it assembled. And you still got the end result, right? So like you've got to look at it from that perspective, but we would never have been able to market as proficiently if we didn't talk to the actual humans. And we didn't, because if you talk to one human, they all have similar problems. So you end up selling way more when you talk to one person. So you may have heard that before where people say to think of one person that you're going to write to and write the marketing to them. And this is why we do that for lots of reasons. Language is one reason. We want the language to land with the person. If we think we're talking to a bunch of people, it doesn't really land for the one person. But this part of like actually thinking of a real human that you could serve is genius, right? It's like, well, I have a client, her name is Stephanie. So if I'm thinking, what would Stephanie need to hear about marketing to get her to take an action? I'm thinking of the real life human who I adore and I love working with. That creates love, and that creates my marketing feeling like love. And so when you believe that your potential clients are real, you actually show up more consistently. If you knew that 10 clients were waiting for you, ready to buy from you, would your butt be marketing? I think so, maybe. Right? As long as you were operating out of love. If you were operating out of fear, you might feel like, "Ooh, I hope they don't show up." Right? And so when you trust that your potential clients are there, they trust you right back. And they trust that if you trust that they want what you have to offer right now, they show up. If you trust that they want to hear from you, you'll show up, right? If you think nobody wants to hear what I have to say, why would I? No one's listening, no one's looking at the post, no one reacted. I can promise you that there is an invisible audience there that you cannot see because the algorithm doesn't show it you how many people actually viewed, right? And sometimes you can get a little perspective of that, but for the most part, you don't actually know. And your brain is definitely not thinking of that when you didn't get a like or a comment on a post. And what I know for sure is that I've had so many people be like, I've been following you for years, I'm ready to hire you. And I'm like, where the heck have you been? I've never seen you post on my stuff. And it's like they are lurking, they are watching, they just don't. I'm coaching on a sensitive topic, which is fear. No one's raising their hand typically in a public forum to say, yes, I have this experience, unless they are a coach or a healer or someone who's willing to be vulnerable, right? It's a vulnerable thing to say. So a lot of my life coaching clients come to me and I'm like, where did these people come from? They were the ones that were lurking in the background and they want the life coaching, but they're not willing to post on social media and say, hey, I am afraid to be seen in my relationship, as an example. That's not something they want their husband to see on social media. So instead, I get those comments in the DMs. So when you are marketing to authentic ideal clients, is what I like to call them instead of avatars, like they are real life humans, trust is created. And so what do you already trust about yourself? And what do you already trust about your authentic ideal client when you market your services? So you can contemplate that. And if you're not trusting anything about that, you can just give yourself awareness on where you're not trusting them. See if I can go back and forth with the slides. I know, Rolo. I miss him too, Jen. Love notes. That's such an awesome way to think about it. Yes, I love that. Marketing is giving and receiving love. Absolutely. Definitely. You will market way much more with ease when you have that thought that it's giving and receiving love, because it's totally what we're doing. Anybody, and I think that was Brenda. I know Brenda does Equus coaching, just like what I do in the presence of horses. And so, yeah, like imagine. And one of the other things, Brenda, I would love for you to think about, I was kind of alluding to this before about like the kind of work that you do and the thing that you've learned and what you're carrying to deliver to other clients is remember that every time, I think of this all the time, every time I'm working with an animal, if I'm working with a horse, I help them too, because they have a purpose in the world. Like they get to fulfill their mission. They can't go out and market for themselves. I market for them. Like they're part of this co-creation. It's me, it's the horse, it's the human that I'm helping, and all of that is a beautiful co-creation. So you get that, Brenda. Yeah. And it doesn't matter, like Natalia is using the compassion key, which is an amazing thing that was given, downloaded and given with such love. And it's the same concept, right? It's like she's carrying this beautiful body of work, and she's delivering it in her own way, and it's so beautiful, right? It's like being able to honor the lineage, honor the gifts that you have been given, honor the, if you're an intuitive coach or any kind of healer, honoring the intuition. I feel like that is the other way of thinking about your marketing is giving honor. This There was a book that I read and a mentor I had for many years, who was Emmanuel Dagger. I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but he gave me this way of thinking of money that just blew my mind and made me feel so good. Is that money is an exchange of honor and love. Like no matter what you're paying for, if you're paying for your light bill or it's still an exchange of honor and love. Like you got this amazing service you get to see in your dark house, and the exchange of money to receive that, when you get to shine light on your daughter, when I think about that, when she's sitting in a room, if I wasn't going to be able to see her, right, I get this beautiful service. But also when we're thinking about what kind of work we're doing, that's why I love working with people who do heart-centered work, because it's like amplifies that it's an exchange of honor and love. When you charge for a service and you get to receive it and you get to deliver it, somebody else gets to receive it. Like there's a beautiful energy exchange. Something I know that's true for the work I do here with the horses and the donkeys. There is holy magic here that cannot be explained. Oh, I so believe that. It has to be experienced. It's true. And there's ways that you can help people experience it before they ever set foot in the paddock, which is what I've learned to be doing and how I've been able to bring the work that I do that was in person. I've been able to bring it out to make a global business instead of just a local business, which has been pretty incredible. And it has to do with that holy magic you're talking about. So how to attempt to explain it in my marketing? Yes, I can help you with that because that is something that I feel like a lot of people struggle with, is the language and how to explain like something that's very complex. One of the things that I'm actually here on this earth to do, and I know it's to be true, is I'm here to translate very complex spiritual ideas to the masses. Like I can take something like compassion key and explain to someone really simply how it can help them and help and get them to want to work with me without even explaining sometimes what compassion key is, because I know exactly what the psychology is of a buyer and how to create trust and safety that it wouldn't even matter what I was selling as long as I addressed what the problem that they have that they can't solve themselves. I can explain it to them better than they can explain it themselves, or like better than they even understand it themselves, what their issue is. And then I can help them understand that I have the solution. And then I can help them with creating the result, right? So the there's like a beautiful way of doing that is not in a way that's like focusing too much to make. I don't like to sell on scarcity or anything like that. If I don't have to create scarcity, I won't create it. Like I'll just be like, listen, you get to do whatever you want to do and it's up to you. But like, there's certain things that I can't get around. Like if there's a program launching on a date, I can't stop that from launching, right? That might be scarcity, but that's real scarcity. That's not manufactured scarcity. Some people are like, oh, the cart closes on this day, but it really didn't close, but they just said it closed, so that it would create some sort of safety or some sort of urgency for you. That's not what I would do for people. Like I don't like to teach people to manufacture fear because that doesn't feel very good. And I don't really like it when people do that, sell in that way either. And so, yeah, so the idea that you're able to teach people like how to understand what you're doing has been one of the journeys that I took myself. And what it's really fun now is, especially with the work we do, Brenda, the only thing I would say is because when it is in person, the people kind of have to like animals, and you can't really surprise them with that. Like you can't be like, hey, come on down, meet me at this address, and not tell them that there's horses. I think that's would be a disservice to people, because if someone is, not liking animals, that's not fair to the horses either. But for those that don't have that kind of business, you can actually still create clients without actually going too deep into the process of what you're doing. I think a lot of times we focus a lot on like, how am I going to explain this complex thing? That's actually not what people need to work with you. So someone described this in a way of a metaphor that I really like. It's like helping someone cross a river is mostly what coaches and healers are doing, right? You're going on one side of the river where there's struggle, and then they want to be over on the other side where there is not struggle. It feels good and they're healed, or they're moving forward or unstuck or whatever it is. But imagine there's people over here, either they're stuck in their boat and they don't have paddles and they don't know how to get across, or they don't have a boat, right? And your process is the boat or the speedboat or the rowboat or the jet ski or whatever you want to call it, that gets them across the river. You don't really have to spend too much time on that piece. It's more important that you explain to them that you can get them across the river, and you show them what happens when they are across the river. That's called divine feminine marketing. When you're just talking about the solution you have and the results. Like I got the thing that's going to help you, and here's what it looks like. Here's all these people that are beautiful, living in the result that you create for them. And then what's called people call it bro marketing, or like what I would call the masculine. It's like the more toxic masculine way of selling, is like, here is all the pain that you're in. Like we're not going to teach you anything that's in the middle. We're just going to keep you in the pain. And actually experienced this with someone who was like, by the time she got to a call with me, she was like, you can't tell me any more things that I'm doing wrong. Like she was really struggling because she had met so many people who were taught the way to do bro marketing, where you just agitate the problem and then you don't ever solve it until they pay you. I don't believe in that. I think it hurts my heart to put people in that kind of pain. So instead, what I do is I think it is a huge service to explain to someone the problem they have better than they understand it themselves. They get so much clarity around that, and they're onto themselves, and they can either take that and move it along on their own, or they can choose to hire me if they want to help them get across the river on a speedboat instead of trying to swim across the river on their own, right? Which is what many people can do. And when you do that, you're explaining the problem better than it was before. It's more of leaning towards the feminine way of marketing, right? You're giving them some help, you're showing them what's possible, and you're just getting them to the point where maybe they even can have a trajectory where they can do it themselves, but it's way faster when you work with us, right? When you work with me, you're going to get your result really fast. If you try to do it on your own, you'll get there, but it might take you some time to get there because you'll be trying to figure out how to build the boat or figuring out how you're going to get the boat or whatever. Instead, there's somebody that already has a boat ready to go. Just come on board and let's go. So that's kind of the metaphor that I have loved to like explain how to sell your coaching or your healing or whatever services that you are building. Yeah. So, okay. So let's go back. I'm sorry. I'm getting so excited about the, what in the world? Okay. Did I do this wrong again? No, I did. Okay. Here it's back again. All right. So creating trust. So this is about the body language that the horses will experience when you are, so you think about yourself and your clients when you're trying to create trust with them. So horses can actually sense when your inside intention doesn't match your outside expression. So I just did a post about this either today or yesterday about how like your words are, I would love to sell my services to you, but inside you're like, oh, please don't buy because I don't know if I can deliver the service, right? Kind of like that example I was giving you before where I wanted to launch a group, but I was afraid I couldn't show up. But the words that were coming out of my mouth might have been different, right? And then there would be incongruence. So if I do that in front of a horse, the horse is, whether I'm in person or I'm on a Zoom, it doesn't matter. The energy coming off my body is very incongruent. It does not match. And the horses do not trust that. They will show me all the body language that they don't feel safe. Now, they're not, when you're a human and you're doing this, whether you're in person or not, you're not harming the horse. So the horse isn't going to run away from you because it's not like you're there with the intention to feed like a predator would be. But they can just sense that real subtle energy that you don't notice yourself, right? Because you can't see it. It's a blind spot for you. They can sense it for you. They tell me when that's happening, and then I come in with the coaching and I can heal that for you. And so horses can sense this. And what's so interesting is that you can't sense it, but other people can sense it in you. And so that means potential clients can sense this incongruency in your marketing. And that might be why things aren't always landing when you're doing your marketing. And so the opposite is also true. When your inside intention is matching your outside expression, it's so beautiful. They totally trust that. It's called congruence. Other people can sense this in you. So that means that potential clients can also sense when you're congruent in your marketing. And I know you have experienced this because you're probably sitting in this training because you either had a conversation with me or you read a piece of marketing and it landed for you in a way, because I make sure that when I'm marketing, I don't put marketing out that I don't feel really good about, or that I don't feel like it's a love note to someone else, right? Because I already am on to myself. And you probably have experienced other people too that you may have hired in the past, or just somebody that you follow that you love what they're saying because you feel the congruency and what they're saying feels like truth to you. And so why marketing congruence is so important is that first, the horses can sense it, and they can sense when you're trusting yourself. They can sense when you're trusting your clients. And you can see the horse that's right behind me. That's Two Socks. And he also was like, I was in a photo shoot. I was thinking about all the beautiful clients who would in the future see these photos. And so I was feeling very congruent. This is like one of the first photo shoots I did when I really claimed that I was going to do marketing. And it's obviously what I'm here on the planet to do, to translate complex spiritual ideas for the masses, doing it for people who do those kinds of work. If you're doing animal communication, or you're doing things that aren't really easily explained because they're not tangible, this is what I do. So the horse behind me is like, decides he feels safe in front of me, he's going to lay down. He's a flight animal. If I wasn't being congruent, that horse would have been not anywhere near me, definitely not posing for a photo. And so congruency creates trust and safety for your clients to engage with you and to buy your services. And why consistency is important is because consistency creates what's called top of mind awareness of your services. So there are clients out there who are at various stages of the buying process for personal development, coaching, healing, whatever the things are. I'm going to use, is it okay, Ursina, if I use you as an example, just because we just were talking about your business? I don't know where you are. Can you come off mute and tell me if it's okay?
Yep, it's okay.
Okay. So Ursina is an animal communicator. And so when somebody is in the market for her kind of service, it's usually when the pet is about to pass away or the pet has already passed away. So there's a very specific time when you would hire Ursina. And if the pet is, for example, alive, they might not be seeking out her services, right? Or it might be that, you know what, the pet's getting a little old and you're starting to get nervous. I actually just had a conversation. I'm gonna have to figure out who I was just talking to about this, and I will connect Ursina, right? So now I know, first of all, that I can connect Ursina to this person because they're already worried about there's a dog and they were in there like around 15 years old. And so they're like worried that maybe they're going to go, right? So if that's the case, I can call Ursina and be like, hey, or ask the client if it's okay to connect, because then she can solve their problem, right? Because she could either calm their worries or help them get prepared for what might be coming. And so when you think about top of mind awareness, when Ursina is consistently marketing her services, and it's not necessarily like every single person is going to be in this position, right? But they might be knowing someone who's in that position, or maybe they know about her for a while and then they get into that position and then she's top of mind because she's out there talking about her services. It's pretty incredible when you can, because you feel like I would feel like I'm doing a great service to the person who confided in me that their dog is old and they're scared that they're going to die, right? Because I'm going to be able to deliver Ursina and say, hey, you know what, she might be able, I don't know if you're into this, but you might be, and this might be a really wonderful thing. And I only say that because I have been a client of someone who is an animal communicator who helped me deeply release my grief around my dog that had passed away. And I got to reconnect with my dog who passed away. It was so beautiful. So what a beautiful, loving service that Ursina is creating. And if she's not out there talking to people about it, how in the heck would we know to connect, to refer? How would we know to hire, right? If somebody's not out there talking about these particular problems. So the other thing that consistency does is it helps establish you as an authority. So now I know, oh, you know what? This is actually something that Ursina is really amazing at, and she can help solve this problem for my, I'm pretty sure it was a client. I can't remember right now, but I'll figure it out, Ursina. And anyway, so then you have like the other thing that's beautiful about consistency is that your organic traffic will increase with your consistency. So when I say organic traffic, I just mean that when you're not paying for ads, Facebook will send people to you. If you're public profile, they can give you more exposure. They will raise your visibility. The more consistency you get, the more visibility you get. I get these notes from Facebook all the time. Hey, we're showing your post to more people because you're showing us that you're consistent. Or they'll say more people are engaging with your or you're a conversation starter, or whatever their words are. But that's what's happening, and that's how you grow your audience, is through consistency. But if you're afraid, you're not going to go and consistently market your services. So what can you be consistent with? You can consistently show up and show who you are. You can consistently show your values, so that you are connecting with people that have similar values. You can consistently engage with your authentic ideal client anywhere, either in person, at a networking event, you name it, social media, doesn't really matter. Go to the coffee shop if your ideal clients are there, and go talk to some people. And so you can consistently build relationships with people and specifically your ideal authentic client. You can understand their needs and their desired result, and you can consistently trust that they're ready to buy from you. And so this is my client, Trisha, who created Trust. And so she says, I went to Jenn for one-on-one business coaching, but what I got was so much more than I expected. It was exactly what I needed. When I met Jenn, I was an emotional wreck. She helped me learn to trust my inner wisdom, feeling in my body to make decisions that I was too afraid to make. The body language from the horse opened up my eyes to the lies I was telling myself on what my true desires were and why I'm doing what I was doing. And from a business perspective, she leveraged her 30 years of marketing experience to help me clarify my message so that my marketing was clear, direct, and inviting to my audience. She transformed my sales presentation from amateur to professional. If you're looking for a coach who helps you from the whole person perspective, I highly recommend working with Jenn. So that's my client, Trisha Robinson, and two beautiful Palominos that we were working with. And Trish is a coach for triathletes, and she helps moms do their first triathlon. So I look forward to hiring her soon because that is my goal, is to do a triathlon. So why does this process work? Releasing your fears leads to consistently marketing and selling your services. Consistency is in your marketing will build trust and safety to buy for your customers. And it's the difference between feeling really calm and grounded when you're marketing your services and feeling reactive to your marketing. And it's the difference between trusting yourself to show up consistently or staying in confusion. Our brain loves confusion, especially when we're afraid. It's actually, confusion feels safer to the brain than actual clarity sometimes. And it's just an illusion, I promise. And it's the difference between having more confidence and a strong self-image or hiding who you are. And it's the difference between achieving your business goals and not achieving your business goals. And so the experience that you're going to have with this process is that you will feel calm while you're marketing your services, and you won't lose sleep over it. You will feel heart-centered in your marketing. You'll feel confident to bring your ideas into the world, calm and grounded when you're marketing and selling with purpose. And you'll trust yourself and your marketing decisions. You'll become a master of service for your clients, and potential clients will release their fear and their resistance to hiring you. And all you need to get started is a willingness to become aware of your thoughts, a commitment to embodying this process, and a desire to raise your standards for your marketing. And the results that you're going to create are showing up consistently to market for your clients, having more confidence in that strong self-image to market with congruence, building trust for yourself and your potential clients, and creating safety for them to engage with you and to buy from you. Okay, so thank you so much for being with me. This concludes the training piece of this experience. So this is, I love this quote, do something today that your future self will thank you for. And so now I'm going to tell you about how you can work with me, and also Natalia and I are collaborating on a new group coaching program that I'm really excited about. So I'm going to talk to you about that. So remember, this little piece that I just said to you is another key to creating the trust and the safety to buy. And so I love selling with consent. It's the best. You don't want to be selling to people who didn't consent, because that actually traumatizes them. And I promise trauma is not going to give you the clients that you want. It will give you total misaligned clients. And that is not what anybody wants. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my thing because did I stop sharing, or am I start? Oh my goodness, this is fun. Sharing.
You're sharing.
I am sharing or not sharing?
Yeah, you are sharing.
Okay, how do I stop that?
There's a, oh no, hold on.
Maybe in the more. All right, maybe I'll just have to do...
It's down at the bottom of the screen. There's a red stop sharing.
Oh my God, you're the best, Ursina. Thank you for... Okay, so now you can't see what I'm sharing?
No, it's fine.
Okay, beautiful. I still can't see you all though. This is the thing that I don't understand. One of these days, I'm really going to understand how to do a Canva presentation, which I love. Pretty PowerPoints make me super happy. And also look at you all on Zoom. It does not work for some reason on my laptop, so I'm just going to be okay with all of it. So what's next is, what if you could market from love instead of fear? And I think that is like the most beautiful thing to be able to do, right? Even the things that I've taught you today can get you there. But if you want to go and take this a little further, I'm offering Manifest Clients Who Love to Pay You. It is an 8-module experience in an 8-week course, which includes live coaching with me and the horses, which is going to be super fun in a virtual experience, which if you haven't had a chance to do it, it is phenomenal and fun, and just cracks your heart right open working with the horses, whether you're in person with them or you are virtual with them. It is one of the highest honors that I have, which is so fun. So what we're going to do over the course of the 8 weeks is, the first thing we're doing is we're totally clearing out what's getting in the way. It's called marketing energetics. So I'm really helping you with whatever stories you're telling yourself, whatever karmic things that are going on for you that might be repeating themselves. I'm going to do a private session with everybody that comes into this group container, and I'm going to help them clear their karma. What happens? I have like a million testimonials now of like what happens when someone clears karma with me. And what's really happening is many of the people that are attracted to working with me have done a ton of spiritual work. And it's like they can't quite get the money piece. And I might have Natalia explain this because this is her zone of genius. But I had a conversation with her the other day and she just blew my mind with the answer. So I may have her, if she's willing, talk about this. But what's so fun is that when someone clears their karma, it's like the next week I'll see, oh, I made $6,000. Ooh, I woke up this morning to a text that said that they had a karma clearing with me on Monday and they had 5 clients that were ready to work with them, like reaching out to them after like a dry spell. And that's pretty cool because you're doing all the work and then there's just this like last final layer that needs to get cleared. So that's what we're doing in the first week. And then the second week, we are going to do what's called fearless goal setting. I love this. It's setting goals from intuition instead of setting goals from the logical side of the brain. When you set goals from the logical side of your brain, then you can experience a ton of fear and maybe resist the goal. But when you're setting goals from intuition, we do this through shamanic journey. It's really wonderful. And I love helping people create big goals, because the reason they can even create the big goals because they went into shamanic journey to even dream the dream. And so the next thing we'll do is we will go deeper into what's called the fear release formula, which are the 4 steps that I just went through with you, but we go way deeper in the course with this. And then the 4th week, we're going to go deep into marketing is love, which is a very powerful way of marketing your services that actually gets clients wanting to work with you. So that you're not actually going out and chasing clients, you're actually attracting the clients, which is really fun. And then in the 5th week, we're going to be doing the manifestation. So it's called I Am Method for Manifestation is what the week is called, but it's really about holding a group container. When you have your own goal, you have sometimes some limiting beliefs that are maybe not serving you to achieve the goal, but like the other women that are going to be in this group don't have any limiting beliefs about what's possible for you. So they will be able to hold your belief for you, and you will be able to hold their belief for them. So that's why I love the power of a group, because everybody's holding each other's intentions. And that's what that week is about, just talking about how we can really amp up our manifestation. The 6th week is you are your product. So we will work on your brand voice. We will work on how to position yourself, what your values are, all the things that maybe you're not aware of, but need to be part of how you present yourself and how you attract, how you create that client attraction. The reason many of you are here is because you share similar values to me. You believe in either the Equus coaching, or you believe in maybe intuition, things like that. You believe in the magic. And my brand voice is that of the magician. And so every time I market, I'm marketing from that brand voice, which is why many of you are sitting here or watching the replay. And so the final versions weeks are week 7 and 8. And that's where I'm bringing in Natalia to come, which is going to be so fun. And she's going to do, it doesn't take time. It takes alignment, which is really about aligning and making sure that either it's your marketing plan or it's your truth, you're aligning to all the things. And she can talk to you about that a little bit more if she likes. And getting right with money, which is her zone of genius, and she's helped me so much in my my own money journey. So I'm really super grateful to the work that I've done with her, which is why I really wanted to bring her and collaborate with her into this experience. She is someone who merges the practical with the spiritual, which I love about her. And she really helps you she allows you to master what she calls the money matrix. She's had 30 years helping people in the financial industry, and she's helped thousands of clients build wealth and achieve financial freedom. And she's helping me do the same. And so she's helping you with the idea that like clearing your biggest money blocks that prevent you from experiencing abundance in all areas of your life. Her perspective, from what I have experienced with her, is that once you've cleared, the inner and the outer world will shift. And there's nothing in her mind and in how she gets you to this place is just fantastic. That there's nothing that can't be cleared, healed, or restored. There's no block that can't be removed. And so when you understand that, it is so powerful for you to be able to receive the healing. And what's really cool is that she's coming into the group to do the groups. So sometimes it's like you can work with someone and you know what you're aware of, but you don't know what you're not aware of. But the group container is so that everybody's bringing their own things, and we all have very similar limiting beliefs. So when she's reading the field of the group, she's going to be able to clear what's coming up that you might not even be conscious of. And so everything is possible if you're willing to step into the limitless field of miracles, is her exact words, which I freaking love. So I don't know, Natalia, if you feel like you want to say a few words, if you're still here, because I can't see anything. I'm going to go back into
Yeah, I'm still here. Thank
I
you,
hope I
Jenn.
did you justice of like your
I see you fine. I don't know. It's weird that you're not seeing us. That's
it's because
interesting.
my computer keeps flipping the screen, so I can't like necessarily see everything, but now I can see you.
All right, good. No, I'm really grateful to be here, and I love working with Jenn. It's a beautiful part of the compassion key is the infinity sign, and really that's how your business, I think, should be, is the giving and receiving. And when you're giving and you're in that place of giving and receiving, the miracles happen. It's when you're holding back, or maybe you're giving, but you're not willing to receive. And it's also when you're not able to be vulnerable and you're kind of hiding behind, I'm only able to give, but I don't want to receive because I'm scared or I've been hurt or I've been wounded. And so when you're able to open that up, that's when everything kind of starts coming together. And Jenn's seen so many miracles and transformations in her life, but it's because she's done so much work. It's just tweaks. And it's like it happens so quick. And she embraces it and she looks for the miracles to happen, and she actually notices them when they're happening and embraces them, which opens up for more. And each time you pay attention, whatever you're paying attention to and focusing on is what's, drawing more of that to you, which is why you keep seeing more and more. And one of the things with the money part being last, I think that was what you're referring, you wanted me to share about.
I do.
So I realized, because I kept seeing like everyone that I work with is generally very spiritual, and they've done a lot of work, and they're like, why am I still not? I'm seeing it in my relationships. I'm seeing it with different things in my area, my health, but I'm not necessarily seeing big money miracles. And I felt like, when I was asking that question, God was saying, it's because your heart is the great revealer. I mean, and money is the great revealer, and it reveals your heart, and money and love are very intertwined. And so your motives have to be right with what you're doing, and to be entrusted with a lot of money, your heart. I mean, obviously we see what people in the world do with money, who they have a lot of money, but their heart intentions aren't right, and they're abusing it, and they're using it in the wrong way for society. But at this time, especially in this Lion's Gate and all of that, we're tuning into our true selves, which is love. And so to be able to hold and carry money you have to be able to be trusted to use it with love and with the right intention. So when you're offering your gifts, which really fits right into everything that you've built up in this course, is your marketing should be love. It should be serving the people and transforming their lives, which is what you're doing. And it's from a heart of love, and you care about the person that you're looking at, and you're seeing their problems. You're like, you know what? I can help them fix that. You're not doing it from how much money can I make from this. It's just a byproduct. As you're helping people transform, the money's going to flow to you. It's like you're turning on this faucet. But God, the universe, wants you not to abuse it and use it for wrong things, or do it just so that you can live this lavish lifestyle and not really benefit the people. And not to say you can't have both, because you can, but it's a whole different vibration. It's a whole different realm. And that's the realm that we're going in, is that it's a love exchange, and people are willing to invest in themselves, and in you, in your program or whatever it is you're offering. And so that's the last piece that comes into play, because you've done all the work, you've cleared the triggers, you've cleared the blocks, and now you're open vessel that love can flow through, and you can be trusted to hold it. And you can also give more when you're not in a state of fear of when's my next check coming, or when, I need this to make my mortgage or my payments. There's a whole different energy than I get to help these people, and I'm being paid to be a blessing. And as I'm being a blessing to others, I'm being blessed. And it's a beautiful infinity sign, because you're giving and receiving, and it's no longer about manipulating people to buy into your program, or whatever it is you're selling, your product, whatever. And I loved everything that you explained about how you do it, because you laid total foundation of the right way. And when you're in that congruency, it feels really good about selling, versus like you were talking about pressing in the pain points. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been paid for programs that talk to you about really, making people feel miserable so that you can show them the solution. And I'm like, oh, that's always felt so terrible in my spirit. And I'm like, I cannot sell that way. And so I'm sure most of you on this are feeling the same way. It's like this icky feeling of, I always call it commission breath. It's like they're wanting to get their commission, and it's just, you're feeling it coming into your spirit, and you're like, I cannot buy into this. It's like, if that's what selling is about, I don't want to be part of it. And so I love what you're doing, because you're actually teaching people the right way and sharing the right way to market themselves, to where they feel good. The person, wanting the service feels good about it. And it's just I don't know, it just vibrates love. And that's what you want. So anyway, hopefully I didn't talk too much. I'm excited to be working with Jenn, and I love collaboration. I'm not really one of these people that I want this huge thing for myself. I just like seeing everyone bloom and shine their light in the intricate way and the beautiful way that they were created to. And I know you said this at the beginning, Jenn, is that we all have this, I think you say something about a genius, that we all have this genius part of us. And it's really just finding the right seat on the bus. And we all have a seat. And when everyone's in their genius and everyone's doing what they love, the world's such a better place. Because, and I see this every day, I see people who hate their job, they hate their life, they hate going through the motions of 9 to 5 grind and having to do, I hear that so much. And it's like what Jenn said, what if you could do what you love and be paid well for it and enjoy your life in all aspects of it? And that's really what I think the main thing of of what we're trying, what she's doing, what I'm doing. And I think probably all of you within your own businesses is that's what you're trying to do as well. And it's a beautiful thing. And I love how God, the universe, our highest selves all work together in unison, and like the same messages are coming up, and it feels so good in your body where you feel at peace versus stressed in your marketing. Because I don't know about y'all, I am not necessarily the most technical person, and the aspects of doing those things are not motivating. But if you can tap into, oh, I'm doing this from this place of love and I'm able to help people. Most of us want to help people. And that's where the marketing of the world has kind of tricked all of us into holding back from being visible, because we don't want to be seen as another person out there trying to peddle something, and where it doesn't feel congruent. So anyway, thank you, Jenn.
You're welcome. Thank you. So I dropped the link to Manifest Clients Who Love to Pay You into the chat for those of you that are here live, and those of you who are watching the replay. You'll be able to see an email that comes through, and with the replay, I will also put that there so that you have an opportunity to take a look at the beautiful sales page that Bindi Asher put together for me. Because even though marketing is my zone of genius, I also am at a point in my business where I can hire some things out that I don't really like to do. And so what Natalia was saying about allowing people to be in their zone of genius and how amazing that can be. And so I allowed Bindi to be in her zone of genius, which she's a genius at creating sales pages. And she was able to just take what I already had in terms of my language and my words and how I describe what I do, and put it in a way that just beautifully sells off a sales page. So I am used to, I normally do a sales conversation with one-on-one clients, which goes really beautifully. And I know how to do that. And I do it from a place of love, and I love it, right? But the sales page is something that I have not normally sold from. And so I was like, you know what? She does this all the time for a living. Let's let her do that. And so she gets to be in her zone of genius. I get to stay in mine. I get to do this because I love doing this conversation with people on a group, situation. I can do this way. And it just worked out so, so beautifully. And it was effective and all of that. So if you want to see a sales page that actually sells, you can take a look at the sales page from that perspective as well. And if you want to reach out to Bindi, send me, you're all on my email list. You can send me an email and I will connect you to her because she's pretty freaking awesome. Okay. And so I just want to tell you a couple things. You'll be able to see this on the sales page, most of this, but the one thing I do want to tell you is that I do this work at Rising Star Horse Rescue. That's where I will be, and you all will be virtual. So wherever you live, you will come and tune in on a Zoom call with me, but you'll be with my horses on most of the sessions. There are 2 sessions we'll be with Natalia, and I will discuss whether I should be at the farm anyway. We'll see how that works. And then there'll be 2 sessions where I'm going to be doing oracle readings. And that's going to be really fun, because one of the ways that I help my clients, on top of just, my own working with the horses, is I have my own intuitive gifts, and I work with people through this vessel of oracle cards, which you would think, oh, I can pull my own oracle card. You totally can. But for some reason, whenever I pull them, whatever the people need comes out in such a gorgeous way. And what's really fun is when I've worked with the horses, I will be channeling whatever is coming out of my mouth is usually channeled. So I don't sometimes even know what's coming out, but it's always the right thing that the person needs to say. And then we'll pull an oracle card when we're finished. And like, I would say 99.9% of the time, exactly what we just coached on is in the oracle card, or even sometimes what the horse said is in the oracle card. All that stuff to me is just what, how did Brenda say it? The magic that happens when you co-create with these beautiful animals. So it's not something that I can control or try to control. I just sort of am in creative response to whatever is present. So that's part of my magic that I like to bring to people. And the other part of the magic is I love to help people with shamanic journeys. So in this program, you will get weekly shamanic journeys from me. They will be things that you can choose to do on your own if you want to. You do not have to do them if there's like not, if you don't like visualization, you don't need to do it. If you don't visualize, it's still okay if you want to do it. You just set an intention for whatever I'm guiding that it's happening, and it works just perfectly. And I'll also give you a goal tracking system and a workbook with that, and a private Facebook community to meet with the other women that are in this group. It is going to be amazing. And I'm not big into gigantic groups. So this is a very intimate container, which I love, so that, I don't know, it just makes me feel good when I'm holding a intimate container. And as I mentioned, I'm going to give you one private clearing, which is the other reason why I like to keep it on the smaller side, so that I don't overwhelm myself with trying to deliver the services one-on-one. So I wanted it to be a really beautiful container that I can manage your private karma clearing and also hold the container for the group, and you all can know each other, and maybe you all will become business besties, which would make me super happy. To have other people that cheer you along is pretty beautiful. And so the other thing to know is that the investment that you make with me, a portion of that will go back to Rising Star Horse Rescue directly. They are an incredible place that have saved so many horses. I've been there for 4 years now, and they save 40 horses a year. So it's pretty incredible, the beings that I've gotten to work with and experience. And that's been my own journey of not attaching to animals, because they come and go, and we welcome them with open arms, and we wish them well when they go. That has been really hard, because I'm a human that loves animals so much that I want them all to be in my house and in my backyard. And so I've grown a lot working with these beautiful beings. And, we have some pretty incredible ones that I've been working with. We have some wild ones that don't have a lot of connection or experience with humans, which makes them super sensitive to energy. So I love working with them. Their names are Dave and Big Timber. And if you are following me on social media, you'll see the pictures of them. They're pretty amazing. But we also have retired horse racing babies like Crimson and Seabiscuit. So there's a lot of different kinds of animals that we work with. And what's cool about Rising Star is that as soon as the horses' hooves hit the ground of Rising Star, they are safe for the rest of their lives, because Rising Star not only saves them, rehabilitates them, retrains them, and rehomes them, but they also follow them for the rest of their lives. So once they're adopted, there's only a 2-year adoption, and then they come back, or they get a sort of a re-up for another 2 years, which gives the owners a chance to say, hey, things have changed in my life. Because a lot of times horses hit hard times when their owners hit hard times. And so the other thing we do is we send people out to wherever they are. We know exactly where they live, and we do surprise checks to make sure that the horses are not getting abused. So I don't know any other horse rescue that does that kind of hands-on work that really make sure that their horses are cared for the rest of their lives. But that is why I enjoy making sure that, I'm taken care of, the horses are taken care of, and Rising Star's work is able to do their work as well. It's just a beautiful win-win-win for everybody. Okay, so I don't know if anybody have any questions or anything about anything that I've talked about today, or about the program or anything. I'm happy to answer questions for a little bit. And I know Ursina is excited because she's joining. I hope that what you learned today is just enhancing everything that you learned the last time in the last training. Beautiful. Brenda, did you
Well,
have
Jenn.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm taking a break. I don't know if you can see me or not, or how in the world okay. I can't see me, but anyway, I'm just holding the phone, so hopefully I won't make anybody dizzy. I'm just thinking about divine timing. I'm thinking about that because I've been stuck for so long. I have a coaching website, but it's not yet saying I'm Equus certified. So there's that. And I haven't attached paperwork forms to it because I'm not technically savvy at all.
Okay.
So I thought 4 or 5 days ago, why am I stressing over this? Jenn knows exactly how to do this, and she could probably do it in 5 minutes. So I can get this worry and this overthinking part of my brain, I can let it rest.
Yes.
Plus all the other things you can help me with, all the other things. So I've already learned so much this morning. Marketing is giving and receiving love. Oh my, I just love that. So I've enjoyed this morning, and I look forward to working with you, and I'm happy I got out of my own way, and I'm happy I dug a little bit deeper into the belief that we all deserve help and we deserve support, because I'm working with another business coach, and she's amazing, and she's ready to start back up with me. But I thought, Jenn knows exactly how to do those forms. I don't, Sarah can help me with all those other areas. And so let's do this. So I'm glad that I dug even deeper to get myself even more help. So that'd be a message I would want to give people is you deserve help. You deserve assistance. You deserve somebody to step in and say, I can do this for you, because it's as easy as breathing for me.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of myself for that.
Well done. I'm celebrating you. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Because you never know who people hear that and listen and dig a little deeper themselves. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
And I'm excited to work with you. It'll be amazing. Okay. So does anybody else have any questions for me or Natalia? We're here to help you in any way.
No question. Just wanted to say I'm very excited for the program.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Okay. Hooray. Okay. And Jenn, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So when you take the course, you may recognize Jenn from some of the videos that are Jenn allowed me to, she actually joined when I recorded Manifest Clients Who Love to Pay You, when it was a live program with horses. And so, because she knew that I was going to be creating this virtual course in the future. And I'm so grateful and happy that she was working with me and allowed me to do that, because what that did is it allowed me to serve so many other people that could not actually be at the farm themselves. And it's incredible how healing it can be to watch another person be vulnerable in their own experience around whatever their, whatever module we happen to be on. She showed up and she gave with her heart, and not just for the people that will be watching in the future, but to obviously help herself. She had experienced this work with me before that program, and I'm just so grateful that so you'll be able to to get to witness her create some pretty incredible things. Jenn is an artist, and her art is like on fire. And the other thing, I don't know if you still do this, Jenn, but like she's unlocked my creativity in so many ways. Like the things that are that are coming have to do, I mean, literally Manifest Clients Who Love to Pay You was born out of a creative process that she had me do. I'm like, I don't consider myself to be an artist, and she didn't matter that I'm like not talented in that area. And even the thing that I created was pretty awesome, but like I can't even explain how the intentions I wanted for this program were put into a piece of art that had, it's like energetic beautifulness. And then as soon as that piece of art was created, it was as if my program just spilled out of me in like the most amazing way. All of these modules came from every intention I put into my artwork. So I'm so talk about a freaking on fire collaboration that has me reaping benefits for freaking years and years and years. So, yay.
You're welcome. And I forgot that I was the person on the videos that you were talking about. So, which is totally cool. And I was like, oh, how fun is that? Like I get to cause a ripple effect and like help other people that is completely outside of like the work I do, which is super cool. So, enjoy, guys.
Yay. So if anybody has any questions, you can drop them in the chat or send me an email. If you are watching the replay, I am so happy and grateful that we had this time together. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Natalia, for being here and sharing with us all of your genius too. And thank you, Jen. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.